Hiya, morning. Susan here on what would this be, the 3rd of May, 2023. And I now need to be really careful because a certain social media for videos isn't too happy with me. So I will need to watch what I'm saying. There are certain words that I won't be using. Not that it matters this morning because uh, what I've been thinking recently is walking the walk and talking the talk. And I'm really frustrated with myself because apparently I just can't walk the walk. I've got no wonderful gifts as much as I would like them. And it's incredibly frustrating when you try to learn something and everybody tells you you can do this and you can't. But it made me wonder, and the interesting thing about this pondering was that the morning that I pondered this, I had a conversation with somebody a couple of hours later. And they laughed at me and went, "Funny you should say that. I was thinking that just this morning." And then a couple of days after that, I mentioned it to somebody else who said, "Funny you should say that. I was having that discussion with a friend just this morning." And it's basically walking the walk and talking the talk. And I'm beginning to think I can talk the talk, but I'm seriously wondering if I can walk the walk. And that made me wonder how many other people have jumped on this bandwagon where we know that we're developing spiritually, but we really don't know what that means for us in a practical sense. But then maybe it's not supposed to be practical. And that's where I fall down because I'm a practical person. Um, so, I, I recognize in myself that there are fewer and fewer people that I want to associate with, watch their videos. There was a whole host of people over 2 years that I would watch and listen to and think, look at it. Yeah, I can see the sense in that. And now I tune into these self-same videos. Well, I don't. Over the past months, I've been tuning into fewer and fewer of these videos because I go, what? And it makes me wonder just how many people are jumping on the bandwagon of this spiritual evolution and thinking they can do things they can't. Um, I'm speaking to people who I would say were highly evolved, and yet sometimes I think, what? Where are you coming from with that? Maybe it just doesn't make sense to me because I'm not sufficiently evolved. But what it does make me realise is that I'm becoming more and more discerning about who to listen to. Um, and therefore, I also wonder in myself, am I just talking the talk here? Or am I actually going to be able to walk the walk when the time comes? I don't know. And I certainly think some folk have jumped on um, over the last 2 years, 3 years now, and come to all sorts of conclusions. One of them being that there are no. In that case, I spent 11 years, first 11 years of my proper working life, doing nothing. I worked with plant um, and could follow postulates with them. Um, through ultracentrifugation, electron microscopy, measurements. I mean, we're talking here 70s and 80s, so we did not have the ability to map as they seem to have now. But then maybe that was a good thing because now they use the computer version. And we've all realised that takes up a huge piece of the work. So they have, in effect, killed the notion that there are any. Personally, I would say, okay, I can see where you're coming from with mammalian because we can't isolate, we can't follow Koch's postulates. The load is so small in a mammal by comparison. We can't just mash the person up using centrifugation or bleed them dry or whatever. Use ultracentrifugation and isolate and then use that to. So, and then they say, oh, well, 30 people in a room, one sneezes, the rest don't get it. No, they don't. Because maybe they didn't eat the same foods, which would have given them particular frequencies, which helped to dissolve certain things. But the point is, I would still be convinced that we have. But I would accept that the evidence for mammalian has not actually been proven in a method that makes it acceptable to all. But then we have people working on them, energy workers working on them who are getting successes. So does it matter what they're called? We change the name and then that makes it all acceptable. We use certain tests that we know are fictitious and should never be used, and then we hold a lot of store by them when we've already decided that they're not appropriate. So yeah, a lot of things going through my mind recently. Walking the walk, talking the talk, jumping on the bandwagon. But that's just me. Hopefully it's given you a bit of food for thought. And as for having to do day, let's see if that works. Or am I going to go again? Well, I don't know. But it's certainly going to be fun to see. And thank you very much for tuning in. If this gives you food for thought, then hit the like button. And if you don't agree with me, or if you've got evidence to suggest you don't agree with me, pop it in the comments box. I do like a good conversation on things. But hey ho, the way it is. Have a great day, keep happy, and do something that brings you joy, please. It's the only thing that's going to get us through this.